I got the consultation and he was like, yeah, let me just like feel around. And he was like, I have been doing this for 20 years and I've never felt somebody who needs this more. Like, it is so incredibly tense that this is like shocking that you have not gotten this done sooner. And before I jump into everything, I do want to mention that I'm filming right now on a professional camera. You guys know me, 10 years into this thing, I still ain't professional. It is my career, I still ain't professional. I'm just a girl in her bedroom. But I'm doing a professional camera, not a phone this time. So let me know if you notice a difference and if you like the difference.
Or if you don't care either way.
Or if you don't care either way, let me know.
Just here for the content.
I got Botox, and believe me, truly, nobody is more shocked than I am. And I want to tell you the entire story front to back. Now, this is not to influence or de-influence anybody on getting Botox for any reason, whether it be for medical purpose or aesthetic purposes. I am simply sharing my opinion and experience on what I had done. I got it back in March, and Botox can last anywhere from 3 to 6 months, depending on where you get it in your body, not like what office you get it done at, depending on how much you get and depending on how your body metabolizes it. I got my Botox back in March, and so I am past that 6-month window. I'm on like the tail end of that. So I wanted to talk about it now that I've kind of been through the full cycle of first ever injection through to when it's, quote, worn off. I have always said that I never plan to do things like filler and Botox, which both in my industry and in the city of Los Angeles is more rare than it should be. But I have no judgments for people who choose to get those things. It's just not something that I want for me and my body and my face and my aging experience for 2 reasons. Number one, I'm just really sensitive to like anything I put in my body. I am so sensitive. I am that person who gets rare drug interactions or side effects. And so for me, I don't want to put something into my body without knowing how I'll react when it's said to last for months. And then I'm actually scared of how it will change the way I look without me being able to see if I like it or not. Like, I don't like the idea that somebody could inject me and it could go wrong and I could get, quote, botched and I wouldn't be able to see in the mirror. And I know that ultimately my face will change with aging. I don't have the same face at 30 that I had at 20 when I started on this YouTube channel. I had a little baby face and I still looked 15. I don't anymore. And I've talked about like how that feels in previous videos. But for me, I would rather let my face change with natural aging, the way all faces will, than do something unnatural to change it in a way that is unpredictable. That said, I got Botox for TMJ and I got TrapTox. The other terms for those would be masseter Botox, which is the masseter muscle in your jaw. You can choose to get masseter Botox either for aesthetics or for pain relief / treatment of TMJ, which is what I chose to do it for. That said, getting it for pain relief and medical treatment doesn't mean you're not still going to experience the physical changes that you would if you chose to get it for aesthetic purposes. And then along with that, I also got TrapTox, and the other term for that is Barbie Botox. And that is getting Botox in your trapezius muscle, which is the top of your shoulder that meets your neck. So this kind of curved area here. And then along with getting those, they inject a lot of the muscle around it. Now, the reason it's called Barbie Botox as like the colloquial. I don't think I'm capable of saying that word. I never can. But you know what I'm saying. The street term, the slang, if you will, is Barbie Botox, because Barbie has that perfect like neck, shoulder. It's like a Barbie doll. It's straight and straight, whereas a lot of us hold a lot of tension there and you get a bulge of the trapezius muscle that doesn't create that flush sleek, kind of sloping look. So again, this is something you can choose to get for aesthetic purposes if you want that kind of perfect sloping look. It's also something you can choose to get for pain relief, which is why I got it. I have struggled with TMJ for almost as long as I can remember. It is a gift I received from my beloved father. And when I say I struggle with TMJ, I mean like, I'm next level, as is my dad. For example, he cracked a porcelain crown within like 2 years of getting it. When I was, God, I want to say like 22 maybe, chipped my own tooth. I had to get like a filling. I had to get it fixed at the dentist. I'm on my third night guard, which I sleep with at night. I cannot sleep without it because I clench so hard and it's uncomfortable. And I've been sleeping with a night guard for about a decade. I cracked 2 of them. I chewed through 2 night guards. My last night guard, my dentist was like,
I have only ever had one other person chew through this, like ever.
And along with just like clenching, I get a lot of popping. My jaw, especially on my left side, cracks and pops regularly. When it does pop, I can get like sound in my ears. Like I get a weird crackling noise in my ears. I get really bad tension headaches, which my tension headaches run all the way up the sides of my face into my temples and then back through the back of my head where like my skull meets my neck. I get very bad headaches. The masseter muscle is a major muscle and it does like run up through the jaw, and then connecting muscles run through like over top of the ears, which is why the tension pulls through the back of the head. I have very limited movement in my jaw in terms of like how wide I can open my jaw, and that is because of how tight my muscles are. I naturally have a small mouth because I'm petite, but it's like the muscles are so tight that it restricts how wide I can open my mouth. So this is as far as I can open my mouth. Not very far. I need to use like children's toothbrushes to get to the backs of my teeth because my jaw is so tight. They have to give me breaks when I go to get my teeth cleaned because I get such severe pain through my temples, leaving my mouth open. And they also have to put like dental blocks to keep my jaw open. And the sports medicine therapist that I was seeing who was doing release had also mentioned it once again to me. And she was like, it is wild. Like the muscles on your scalp like don't move. It's like you're wearing a helmet. That is how tight all of the scalp muscles are. She's like, typically like you should be able to move your scalp, but yours is so locked in place because your muscles are all so tight. And so I was like, okay, you know what? I'm at the derm. If they do Botox at the dermatologist's, I will just get a consultation while I'm there.
Can I feel your scalp?
Yeah. So it's more like back in there.
I guess it's hard through your hair to feel it. Yeah, it feels pretty tight.
Yeah, so scalp, and that's
it's like no movement.
There's no movement in my
Just
scalp.
your hair. Here, feel like the back.
Whoa! Holy my God, that's so weird. It moves so much.
It's like a lot of movement. Like an inch.
Wow.
Up and down,
Yeah, I have no movement. That's weird. You know, you get so used to something you don't even realize. Another thing is, like, I have always had a wide set jaw. I've always had a more, like, quote, masculine jawline. I've always had a very square jaw. And I've always had, like, really big bulging muscles right here, which is your masseter muscle. And for me, that's just, like, how a jaw feels. And I remember when after I got the Botox, I felt my mom, my dad, and my boyfriend's jaw, like right where my masseter is, where I've always, for as long as I can remember, had a bulging muscle. And I felt theirs and I was like, oh my God, none of you have that. That's crazy. It just feels like a bone. Like, I just didn't know that like other people, it's different for them. And equally, when it comes to my trapezius muscle, I have been getting massage therapy since I was 11 years old because I've always had back, shoulder, neck pain. And quite literally, like every massage therapist I've ever gone to goes, "Oh my God, you have the tightest shoulders I have ever felt." And that is just like something that I always hear, and it's like, I almost like joke about it, like it's like a badge of honor, like I've won an award for the tightest, I'm the most uptight. And I think there's a lot of things that contribute to the tension. I've lived a stressful life. My body just doesn't always move in the same ways that everybody else's does. You know, for 17 years, I've had my shoulders in a different position due to using a cane or a guide dog. I mean, I've been using a cane for even longer, since I was 8. In school, I would always be like bending over, hunching to see my desk because I've never had peripheral vision. So I would have to like bend over to see things. Even when I was younger and I could see, when I was walking, I would be looking downward to see below what was on the ground because I never had that peripheral vision. So all those different things contribute to the tension. That said, the reason I chose to get both in conjunction with each other was because they are supplemental. They support one another. My neck has so much tension because of how tense my shoulders and my jaw and head all is. It like contributes to tension in my neck. And if you've watched me for a long time, you know I've mentioned so many times that I struggle with chronic laryngitis. I get a flare-up like at least once a year, and my chronic laryngitis flare-ups can last anywhere from 1 month to like 4 or 5 months. So between all of these things, I was kind of like at a point where I felt like I need to really consider this as an option and like get off my high horse of like, I don't want to get Botox, and just give myself like the best chance I have to be comfortable and resolve pretty chronic issues that I've been dealing with for so long. So when I went, I got the consultation, and he was like, yeah, let me just like feel around. And he was like, I have been doing this for 20 years and I've never felt somebody who needs this more. Like, it is so incredibly tense that this is like shocking that you have not gotten this done sooner. I was like, I'll do it. So I actually ended up getting it done that day. I didn't get any footage getting it done. I didn't take photos because it was just such a spur of the moment decision that I wasn't even thinking about like making content about it. I got many injections. He injected a lot. It took a lot of Botox to work. It's going to take a different amount for everybody. He injected, of course, all through here. He injected through my temples. He injected above my ears and kind of in the back of my scalp. And then he injected along the top of the trapezius muscle, and then like down the back of the shoulder. It's like down here where I have a lot of tension. And coming from somebody who like has had a really severe fear of needles, it did not hurt at all. It was the tiniest needle. It was so easy. And I was like, oh my God, how am I gonna get like 18 or 20 injections? Nothing. It was like nothing. So if that's something that's always scared you, don't even think twice about it. The one weird thing is sometimes, especially around above my ears, I could like hear it. I could hear the liquid like going into my muscles around my scalp, that was like a little unsettling, but beyond that, it was nothing. I did experience a little bit of bruising. So like visually, you could see some bruising. Nothing severe, went away within a few days, but just something to note. It didn't hurt, there just was visual bruising. And then it takes up to 2 weeks to see the full effect of Botox and to feel the full effect of Botox. So I kind of felt like a little bit anxious the whole time because I was scared of the aesthetic changes. I know that a lot of women get masseter Botox because they want a slimmer jaw, because that's viewed as more feminine. I don't want my jaw to be slimmed. I know that it's like I have a strong jawline and that is considered traditionally more masculine. I like my jaw. It's the jawline I've always had. I am fine with it. I would like to keep it. And he said to me, basically, because I raised that as my concern, he was like, this is really funny. Like, typically people are not raising the aesthetic changes as the concern. Like, they're coming with the aesthetic concern and the benefit is like the pain relief or whatever. But he was like telling me that yes, it will soften, but that only people very close to me who like stare at my face regularly, like my mom, would notice. Yeah, for the 2 weeks, I kept like every day, I was like, is there a change? Is there a change? Do I feel anything internally? Do I feel a change externally? He said to me, if after 2 weeks you don't notice a difference, come in for a top up. Oh, also price. I want to be transparent about that. I live in Los Angeles. I got my derm is in Beverly Hills, not because I'm bougie. It's the one my insurance covers. It is on Rodeo Drive, so it's like very bougie. But it's just, the price differs like clinic to clinic. It's going to differ if you get it at a derm versus at like a beauty aesthetic spa. So I believe it was about $800 US for all of my Botox. And then I got free top up. So he said after 2 weeks, when it's taken full effect, come in at any time. And if you don't notice a difference, I will inject more without charge. Part of that is because I asked him to be conservative with the injections because I was anxious. So I asked him to go like lighter than he thought he needed to, and he still injected a lot because of how tense I was. So I didn't go in after the 2 weeks, but after 6 weeks, when I went in for my next laser treatment for my scarring, my acne scarring, I did have him inject more, which was free of charge. That was the top up. I'm ballparking 800 because I also paid for my laser at the same time. So it's like hard for me to exactly remember, but I'm fairly certain that was it. The changes I noticed was actually that I got more tension and discomfort in the back of my neck. As my shoulders dropped, it's like the muscles in my neck were being pulled. They were being stretched because this muscle was no longer like up here tight. It was releasing down. And so these muscles were like almost being pulled. So I actually experienced more tension headaches for a bit in the back of my neck, which was interesting. I noticed the popping of my jaw decreased significantly. And then eventually, like once my muscles got used to it, I did notice the tension went down. Physically, my shoulders were so much softer, like to touch them. I was like, oh my God, this is so weird. They're like actually squishable. Like they don't feel like bone, which is how mine felt. They like actually feel like a muscle, which did allow when I got massages for them to like really go deeper there. I noticed that I did no longer have that bulging muscle, which was a weird feeling for me because to touch it, it didn't feel like my face. I noticed that my temples dipped. So where I noticed they would typically be like pretty like taut and straight, they were more sunken. So I noticed that as these muscles softened, the skin wasn't being as supported by the muscle. And so I was getting softer, like a softer chin, like under here. So I will admit aesthetically, I did not like how it changed me. The impacts that it did have on me were things that I would typically see with aging. So I felt like they aged my face versus like getting, a lot of people get Botox to look more youthful. I don't think it did that for me. People say like the Botox glow, right? When you get like your forehead done and it makes it all like tight and shiny. But I was willing to overlook that if I felt like the physical benefits were worth it. That said, now the muscle is getting tenser here. Like I feel it growing back. It did last the full 6 months for me. It's not as bulging as it was here, but it is more firm and tense than it was like 3 months ago. I don't know whether people noticed a difference. My mom did, but again, she stared at my face every day since I was born. You're saying you didn't? Yeah, so my boyfriend didn't. Men, they're not very observant. All in all, I would get trap talks again. I don't think get TMJ Botox. I'll never say never. I might, like if it just gets like so bad that I like really need some relief, I will get it. I think I became so used to the feeling of having it that beyond like keeping my mouth open at the dentist when it caused a lot of pain or the popping, things like that, like I've just kind of like accepted that that's how my jaw feels. But the relief of the shoulders was more for me, but it is something that I would consider getting in the future for that tension release. But TMJ, not like fully certain I would get that again. I'd be curious to get like back at the base of my skull for my tension headaches that I've struggled with since I was like 13 or 14. But I'm scared of the negative side effects you can have with that, like the migration of it down, affecting your swallowing and stuff. That's terrifying. And I just don't know if it's worth it for something I've already been living with and coping with for so long. So that's that. That is everything. Let me know if you have questions. Please also share your experience if you have gotten Botox for either of these things and if it helped you, if it didn't, what you thought. If you've gotten Botox for any other medical purposes or aesthetic purposes, share your experience down in the comment section so we can be a little community and learn and share with each other. And until next time, you can click over here to see a video of me styling outfits independently as a blind person, or you can click this really sad video to see me cry about guide dog denials. Woo, fun. Okay, love you, bye.